And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, Tom Vasel here, and today we're taking a look at a game called Lex in Lemniscate. Now, it seems like a very weird name, but Lemniscate refers to a mathematical parabola in a sense. So this is the board of this game. This is an abstract strategy game in which players are going to be placing pieces on the board, and the first to see a valid sequence is the winner. There's only 24 pieces in the game, a very simple board, and yet the game is much deeper than you might think. Let me show you. This is every piece in the game. Each player is going to start with 6 yellow discs and 6 blue discs. On your turn, you're going to take a disc and place it anywhere you want on any of these spaces. There are no rules where you can place these. And what players are trying to do is they're trying to make a sequence here that is legitimate. At the end of your turn, once there are 8 pieces on the board, so there are 8 pieces on the board, if you can find a legitimate sequence, you end the game. Now, this is not even remotely a legitimate sequence. A legitimate sequence has to have the same number of spaces between each disc in that sequence, between different colors, and between that of the same color. So that may be a little confusing, so let me show you an example of a legitimate sequence here. Alright, this one here is a legitimate sequence. So the way we figured that out is there's 1 space between different colors. So 1. There's 0 spaces between same colors. So 0, different color, 1, same, 0, different color, 1, same, 0, different color, 1. Now that can be kind of confusing, but once you start playing, it will slowly become more and more evident. Now it is possible, let's say for example, we have this one here, and this one here. So you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. You only need 8 for a proper sequence. So I say, okay, it's 1 between difference and 0 between the same. So there's 1, 0, 1, 0. Well, here's the same, but I'm going to remove this one from the sequence. By doing that, maybe I can finish the sequence. Actually, in this case, I can't because there would still need to be 1 here. But let's say this was like this. I could remove this one from the sequence, and now there's 1 space between different colors again. Now there's 0, now there's 1, but here there's 0 between the difference to 2 different colors, so I can remove that from the sequence too. As long as when I remove them from the sequence, as long as there are 8 left in that sequence that form a proper sequence, then I win the game. As you can guess, this can get fairly cerebral because when you can go around a loop, you can start anywhere in a loop and end anywhere in a loop. When you get to the middle, you can even make a 90-degree turn if you want to. And you could have all kinds of weird things. Maybe the sequence is 10 between ones that are the same color. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You know, and then 0 between ones that are the different colors. And so I have a sequence like this. And then 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You can see how I'm making a proper sequence here. So you're trying to watch these, and each player is playing them, trying to make their own sequence. And at the end of a turn, the first player to determine what that sequence is wins. Now this is a kind of an odd game, and I hope that from my explanation you understood it. But the thing is, folks, that the rules are really 2 pages. I mean, really, the rules are a paragraph. Then they show you some examples, and then there's some variants, like at the beginners should only use 5 tokens instead of 8. Then there's a master where one person's making a sequence, everyone else has to try to find what it is and such. And those are interesting, but the base game itself is kind of a fascinating little game. Now, I can realize for sure that this game is not going to be fun for everyone because it requires a great deal of cerebral thought. I had the opportunity to play this against the designer of the game. And obviously, he's operating on a completely different plane than I am. Because I would put a disc out and he would go, oh, you blocked me. I was kind of just putting a disc out. See, when you put that first disc out, what does it matter? The second disc, okay, you've started a sequence. The third disc, now you've started multiple sequences depending on where you start, and each player is looking at the sequences, but it gets even more confusing once there's 8 discs, because once there's 9, now it's what direction is the sequence in, what are the spaces in, which discs am I going to be able to pull out and not use, and it's really kind of a very, very evocative game in a sense that I'm sitting there and I haven't felt my brain go to mush this much over such a simple rule set since Go. Now maybe this game is solvable, I don't know, and maybe there's an advantage to going first. I don't know. I just know that there's a very small select subset of group of people that I'm going to be able to play this with. But I think those people will appreciate it. It can start out fairly quickly, you're putting discs on, but then you'll stop and pause. And as you put them, and in your head, you're counting spaces and going, okay, I'm looking for 3 between each disc of the same color. No, that breaks that. But if I add one here, it doesn't break it because then I can remove that disc. And I found that sort of thing fascinating. Definitely not something I'm going to want to play all the time. It requires a huge amount of thought. This is one of those games where there is no small talk. There's nothing else, just me and the game. The components are fine. The blue and yellow discs work well on the board. And I do like the box cover and how, I like that, how that looks, but none of that matters. This is simply abstract, trying to outmaneuver the other person. I've always been a big fan of sequences. We teach them to kids at a young age. A, B, A, what's next? B. Well, this takes that to a much higher level. And while I can say for certainty that almost no one in my family or game group is going to ever want to play this game with me, there are some people out there who will enjoy it. They will probably whoop me at it. But I still find it a fascinating exercise. I don't think the game is going to be a big hit. First of all, no one's ever going to be able to pronounce the name or even understand what it means. And secondly, there's a small group of people who are going to like the game. But for those people, I think they're going to find a very brainy but enjoyable experience. Dice Tower Judgment, approved!
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool Stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Zatvori vrata.